we have our cast on done. Row 1, we are going to E-wrap. Now notice I did not E-wrap this last peg. For this entire project you will slip the first stitch of each row, so this is row 1 and we are going in this direction. As you can see, the yarn is coming off this peg already facing this direction. If we re-wrap it, it'll leave it kind of bumpy on the edges and it just won't look as nice. See how smooth and symmetrical the edges are there? So we're going to skip the first peg of every row and E-wrap the last peg of every row, no matter what we're doing for the entire project. So let me show you. This is row 1. We are E-wrapping each peg, which you can E-wrap them one by one, or you can E-wrap the whole row and then go through and knit them off one by one. So E-wrap the last one, that's row 1. We are doing a garter stitch, so it's going to be knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, but I'm switching the knit stitches for the E-wrap, which is technically a twisted knit stitch, and for the flat stitch or U-stitch, whichever you prefer, which is very closer to the true knit stitch. Row 1 is done. See, the yarn is coming this way, so this is the direction we're working in. We're not re-wrapping that peg. This is our purl row. For your purl, you hold your working yarn underneath the stitch on the peg and you pull it up through the bottom. See, and this creates a new stitch. Pop off the old stitch, put the new stitch on. Oops. What's wonderful with the chunky yarn like this is if you would happen to drop a stitch, very easy to pick up. There we go. Last peg, E-wrap. That is your set 1, your E-wrap row and your purl row. You're actually going to do 5 of these sets all together. So there'll be 5 purl rows and 5 E-wrap rows. Go ahead and get that done. After your 5 rows are done, let me show you on here. This is your set 1. See how loose that is? Now for our second part here, it's just this little bit right here. See how it gets like a tighter stitch? All you're going to do for 3 sets is use a flat stitch or U-stitch instead of your E-wrap. And all that is you hold the working yarn in front of the peg. If I pull it behind like this, it is considered a U-stitch. If I hold it just in front, it is considered a flat stitch. So whichever you prefer to use, but still E-wrap that last peg of every row. So then you'd have a row of purl going back to the end, and then you would do another flat stitch row, another purl row, another flat stitch row, and then you would move back into the flat stitch E-wrap rows. This pattern is very, very basic, so actually the directions for it will be in the video description below.